Hey, namaste. I'm Kay. This is Ecstatic Self. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. So, many of you who watch my YouTube channel regularly know I was a bit of a late bloomer. In fact, I was a virgin until I was 25 years old. Why is that? Why would somebody who, has all of his fingers and toes and is, not hideously deformed and has capable of articulate speech, at least to a certain level, why would they take so long to fully explore their sexuality and come into themselves? Because I think this is a valid question, and I think it's a question that can be reflective to all of us of like, why has it taken us all so long to become X, Y, Z, become the people that we are? So I know for myself, part of the root is fear, right? Like I was terrified of the idea of who might I be. I was terrified of what would happen if I, found out I didn't like girls. What would happen if I made out with somebody and it was really not good? Like should I get lessons? Should somebody teach me? I remember thinking when I was younger. And how many of us make similar decisions out of fear, right? Like we're terrified of what if blank, so I'm just not going to go there at all, right? Like I opted out of normal teenage coming of age behavior because I was scared of what I would learn about myself in the process. And in the end, of course, those fears were stupid, right? Like, so what? Okay, so you like dick. Okay, cool. And uh, the fear of what I was afraid of is so much infinitely worse than whatever actually happens. But that's so true in our lives, right? We get worked up about these things that ultimately don't matter. And what if, oh, and if they, and, right? Like, ultimately, it's going to be okay. So for me, I remember being a teenager. I remember being, having sexual desire. I remember wanting to explore that in a more open way, but just being so afraid of what I'd find because of other people's judgment, because of my judgment on myself. And I held myself back from so much. And here's the thing about when you hold yourself back in a significant way from an area of your development, you have to go through that same stages later in life. So if you're 40 and you're coming out, you're going to be behaving in some ways like a teenager, and you're going to have the emotional processes in some regards like a teenager. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means you still have to go through your development process. And it's better that it happens late than never, but it's better if it could happen now. Like there was this old proverb that I read about in the book Overstory by Richard Powers, where he said, what is the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. What is the second best time to plant a tree? Today. So, right, like, be aware. What are the things that you are not diving into? What are the things that you wish you could be doing better with? What are the things that you say, hey, that might be part of who I am, but I'm really afraid of exploring it? Well, fuck. If it's really part of you, you have to explore it or you're going to die limited and contained and not really fully knowing yourself. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the only person you end up truly being accountable for is yourself. Like, yes, your partners matter, your children matter, your parents matter, yes, but you can't live for them. You can't, right? We can make choices that are being considerate of them, but the only person you are ultimately responsible is for yourself. And yes, we need to have compassion, we need to fulfill our obligations, but you, if you die unhappy, no one is going to be as sorry as you are. And as much as I wish that we were a culture in America that created more family structures and more community and that group identity mattered, really we are an individualistic society. We are set up to support your personal well being. So I would really encourage you to start to explore. You might not be a 25-year-old virgin like I was, but you might have other areas where you say, hey, I'm now in blank decade of my life and still haven't done blank, which I should have done 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 50 years ago. What are you holding yourself back from? What are the things that if you just had a little bit more bravery and you were honest with yourself and honest with other people will be coming to the forefront? Because I'll tell you, it sucks to be in that state. It sucks to be a 25-year-old virgin. It sucks to feel like there's this part of me that I can't embrace, I can't explore, I can't integrate. Because the most healthy, happy, well-grounded people are the ones who are able to integrate everything that they've learned, everything about themselves, everything that they've uncovered in their identity. So what's on the docket for you? What are the things you've been afraid of that you've been avoiding? And how perhaps can we bring them to light? interesting questions to think about. And always, if you ever need to work one-on-one, I am a life coach. This is primarily what I do. Feel free to always reach out to me, k@ecstaticself.com. Also, check out my upcoming book, Journey to the Ecstatic Self, available on Amazon. And please share this with somebody you think might value from it. Like, subscribe, comment. I love hearing from you. Any video suggestions, please feel free to share. Anyhow, pleasure to be here with you today. Namaste.